How awesome would it be if your crazy and intricate show could trigger itself perfectly every single time and run itself? We already do that. Cheesy intro aside, Timecode is an awesome tool for show automation, and I want to talk about it today. I recently asked on Instagram what are some topics that you guys would like to see videos made, and multiple responses for Timecode. So if I'm going to talk about Timecode, I'm going to start at the base layer and then we'll build our way up. There are two primary types of timecode that are commonly used in lighting. There's MIDI timecode and there's SMPTE timecode. Most of my experience is with SMPTE, so that's what I'm going to talk about today. MIDI timecode is a great tool and there are plenty of people who use it successfully. I just haven't, and I don't want to talk about something that I'm not super familiar with and haven't been doing the weeds with. I've used linear timecode on plenty of shows, and I do feel like I know enough about it to talk about it. So, SMPTE timecode was formed by the Society of Motion Picture and Television Engineers. Fancy. But it was created back in the 60s as a way to sync audio and video for film, movies, and that sort of thing. And so, timecode is just a clock. And it's a clock based around video. It's hours, minutes, seconds, and frames. And comes in different flavors depending on frames per second. So, let's talk video for a second. Video is multiple pictures per second. A movie is 24 frames per second. Oftentimes television is 30. And these are North America, NTSC standards. PAL, which is Europe and other countries. Those are slightly different standards. But now I'm going kind of into the weeds of video, and that's not the topic of this video. So back to timecode. The reason that matters is, let's take a concert. If I'm using 24 frame per second timecode, that means there are 24 options or slots or places where I can place a trigger every single second, because that's how many times it's getting updated. The clock is updating. If I have 30 frame per second timecode, that means I have 6 more spots per second, and so you can be a little more exact on your timing. So when I'm using linear timecode, which is SMPTE timecode, I'm using 30 frame per second timecode because I can get a little more exact with hits and that sort of thing. SMPTE timecode exists as an audio file. So it essentially sounds like alien garble. Here it is quietly. Yeah, not too loud because that'll hurt your ears. But if you feed that sound into a computer, it's able to reinterpret that back into a clock. So I want to play around with a hypothetical scenario real quick. We have a tracks computer on stage for playback. That's the backing tracks for the band. We're gonna say, this is a laptop running Ableton, which is a common DAW software for audio playback. It's got an audio interface directly connected that's just given copper outputs, and it's 8 outs. Our first out is click. That's going to the front of house console. Second is their guide. So just for the band's in-ears. Third and fourth, we'll just do a stereo percussion track. Outputs 5 and 6 can be a stereo keys track out. And let's just say 7's not used, which means 8 is open. We're gonna add a timecode track to their playback that doesn't go to the front of house console. It instead goes to the LTC jack on our MA3 lighting console. And we route just the timecode track out of their playback computer, and suddenly, as soon as they hit play, we have a clock that's running perfectly in sync with all of their tracks. Since they're playing with a click track and they have their own tracks that they have to play with, that's ensuring they're playing the song the same way every time. So the minute you hit play and start triggering your lights based on it, you are matching exactly what is happening on stage. It's not crazy complicated in the grand scheme of things. So practically speaking, if you're doing some form of playback where you're able to add a timecode track and send it elsewhere, you're able to automate any tool on the other end that's able to accept timecode in. So in a lot of my hypotheticals, it's the MA3 lighting console. Other lighting consoles support timecode. This is not just an MA thing. Softwares like Resolume support timecode. And I have to ask my audio friends out in that world because I've never delved into timecoding audio equipment, but I'm sure it exists out there and I'm sure there are people who have done it. Its main use case is whenever something is going to be locked in, so to speak. If it's a song that's going to be played with a click, which means that band is locked in live. Or let's say it's some video being played back with extra audio and you want lighting to match it as well. It's another great example and use case for timecode. The one gotcha for timecode is it requires something that's being played back consistently every time. So for example, if you have a band that's just playing with a click and it's just an endlessly running click for the sake of tempo, there's no way to really timecode that reliably because if they get a beat behind, suddenly every light cue is hitting a beat ahead, and that's just not gonna work. But if they have guide and backing tracks, it's gonna require them to stay exactly with the song. And that's kind of the secret sauce that makes timecode work with music. That's just a base overview of what timecode is. We'll dig a little deeper on timecode implementation in MA, especially as we get into the holiday season. Some time-coded stuff is coming up. But with that, drop a comment and let me know what kind of projects you guys are working on and if you're time-coding anything. And stick around for more of this type of content. Thanks so much!